My name is Kenny Dyal, and I want to welcome you to the Scuba Diving channel. This channel is for anybody that is aquatically inclined or just aquatically curious. My next guest is Olive Bonello, just an incredible mermaid. Not only can pull off the look, the vibe underwater, but also the character. One thing to look like a mermaid, it's another to be a mermaid. Olive tells us how they do it. Olive also shares some of the tips and tricks on getting started and going professional. So you're gonna love to hear what they have to say. Olive, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm really excited to be here.
So we met at Jenny Springs, total coincidence. And since then, I've seen you perform a very little mermaid at a very big theme park.
Yeah, it's a big grotto and a great place to meet a lot of other mermaid enthusiasts. I would say that has been a huge privilege of my career, because one of the most magical things about that location is that you really get to bring the world of mermaiding alive, as well as the world of princesses. So it is a completely different experience when kids walk into the grotto and see a real live mermaid. And I think that is something that is becoming accessible to performers all over the world, not just at theme parks anymore. And I love that about where the industry is going.
And do you think that kind of helped spark this phenomenon? I mean, it's super popular now.
I would say that there was a princess industry that kind of picked up first, and then from there, aerial performers got a little bit more serious. And along that same timeline, there were tail makers getting real serious in the waters too. And naturally, those two worlds just collided. And now there is this wonderful, wonderful world of cosplay and art and creativity and scuba diving and free diving that has kind of come together to create this totally new sport that is mermaiding.
NAUI and maybe some of the other agencies now are offering mermaid classes, like actual certifications, which is...
It has helped increase accessibility to the mermaid industry so much, because Monofin acceptance as pools has been a huge gateway that has been keeping people out of being able to participate in mermaiding. So having these classes available to be able to put certifications behind people and say, no, I know what I'm doing, I am safe in the water, has helped so much. And I'm so excited to see these programs expanding the way that they are.
What is a monofin and what is monofin acceptance?
So inside a lot of these tails, they have blades inside them, like bifins that are stuck together to hold your feet together to make these safe to swim in. And there are a lot of pools who do not allow people to use them in their pool because of safety concerns. Instead of bifins, they hold your feet together so you can't get out. It's essentially the same thing that this fabric is doing here. It makes less qualified swimmers not able to help themselves if there is an emergency. So water competency is a huge part of mermaiding. And unfortunately, some pools have seen incidents where, people who don't know what they're doing in monofins or mermaid tails will get themselves in a dangerous situation and need to get rescued. Mermaid organizations, like one that I am a part of as a crowned member of their royal court, this is a new upstarting program called Mermaid at Any Age. And they are a group of professionals in the mermaid industry whose goal is to educate people on safe mermaid use, campaign for monofin acceptance in pools who have potentially put policies in place to keep mermaids out, and increase accessibility in the industry by doing that, making sure that we have instructors in local areas everywhere who can give people these new coming certifications that are just coming out.
What got you into it originally? Was there a specific moment, or was this something you grew into? Like, tell us.
It was aerial. It was top to bottom. I wanted to be a mermaid from the very beginning. And I could not tell you if that was the fact that my parents had me swimming from such a young age, or it was the movie, or what. But being a part of the water has always felt more like the water is a part of me.
So what would you tell somebody that maybe is interested in getting started out?
The costume does not matter. The tail does not matter. The glamour of it doesn't matter. What is important about mermaiding is how you feel when you are swimming. The most important thing about being a mermaid is knowing in your heart that that magic is real because you feel it. What makes that all magical is the person inside the tail. But I think the best part about mermaiding is the whole symbolism is that it doesn't matter what your fluke shape is or what the size of it is. There are so many different right ways to mermaid. For some people, it's a photo shoot. For some people, it's freediving. For some people, it's the content creation of making that beautiful, like, aquatic themed photograph.
You said there's a million right ways to do it. Are there any wrong ways to do it?
The wrong way to mermaid would be any way that does not respect the body of water that you're in. So anytime that you are being unsafe, whether that is putting on a tail that is not made well, because there are many on the market that are not, getting into a tail at all when you are not comfortable swimming in just a monofin first. A lot of times people are so concerned about keeping their costume safe that they don't think about keeping themselves safe too. And that is my biggest note for a beginner is start mermaiding in baby steps. Try the monofin first. Know how to get in and out of the monofin in the water. Then put on the tail skin. Know how to get in and out of the tail skin in the water. Then go swim.
What do you feel like is the biggest hurdle going from, I don't want to say zero to hero, that's just so cliche, but zero to hero?
I would say that because this industry is so new, you really have to be a jack of all trades. You know, not only do you have to be able to put yourself into the costume piece that you are proud of and want to perform in, but you also have to market yourself. And, you know, you have to be able to get to your event safely and have somebody with you at all times at that event who can look out for your safety because, again, your legs are bound. To really have a focus on what you enjoy about mermaiding and not what everybody else is selling with mermaiding. Because not only is there a lot of competition happening because people are just doing the same events, you know, and undercutting people's prices, but people are not enjoying the sport anymore because they are competing with each other instead of focusing on what it makes, you know, them unique and happy about being in a tail. You know, there is so much that goes into the sport and so much that goes into making it appear effortless, both in the water and on shore, that creating that magic, taking all of those little mundane skills that come together to create mermaiding, that's alchemy.
What opinion did you have starting out that has totally flipped or has changed dramatically now that you've had some real experience?
When I started out, I thought that every moment was going to feel like my dreams did as a kid. You know, that like I am standing in an aquarium and there are fish all around me, but I can breathe. And although that same weightlessness is there, that same wonder and quietness is there, mermaiding has become a discipline. I got to know myself a lot better through mermaiding than I ever thought, because when I was a kid, it was an escape for me. It was magical. It was this world of wonder. It was this other place that I couldn't be a part of. But as an adult, it is the place that I feel the most honest, because I am completely aware of what everything in my body is doing when I'm performing underwater. And that is completely different than what I thought it was going to be when I started.
Is there a commonly held belief out there that you just passionately disagree with?
I am not a huge fan of the phrase mermaid tail. And the reason why is because when I think of a tail, I think of like a dog tail or a monkey tail, which is like a limb. But when I think of a mermaid fin, I think of it as like an entire half of my body. But I personally like to use the word mermaid fin instead of mermaid tail.
I hear a lot of stuff out there, and I took an honest look and I could not pin down exactly what is the most socially acceptable. I hear mer people, I hear mermaid, I hear mermen, I hear merfolk. What is the most acceptable, proper way to put that out there?
It is generally accepted that the word mermaid is a little more gender fluid than most things that tend to be gendered. That being said, there's still absolutely a movement to be more inclusive when you are talking about merfolk. So using those gender inclusive languages, all of the ones that you just mentioned, are completely acceptable and encouraged.
So you can say a mermaid community, anyone can be in it.
You could. If you were talking about the community at large, I would personally always use the gender neutral language because there is a large population of mermen as well.
What can people do to get involved? Where can they go?
A great place to start is by searching for Facebook groups for your local pod. Another great thing to do is to look at tail makers because almost all of them have their own pods. It is still very much on its baby fins. And if you want to see something in your community, make it in your community.
Glaring behind you there, Miss Mermaid Washington. What is that?
It's a beauty competition. It's a beauty pageant that focuses on freediving skills and ocean activism on the USA platforms. You can compete in underwater photography or longest swim. There is a formal section and like an evening wear type section of the competition as well. But essentially it is a beauty pageant that is focused on the skills of being a mermaid and that pageantry.
You stay in character. And you don't break character when you're performing. And I noticed that.
It is my absolute pleasure and responsibility to introduce everyone that I see to the reality of mermaiding. And that is that if you're anywhere near an alchemist, magic is real. And anytime that anybody sees me in a fin, I want them to walk away having learned something about me, or maybe just maybe believing in the world of mermaiding a little bit more than they did before if I can swing it. And the first step to, getting more people to engage in this sport that I'm so passionate about is being real to them. So staying in character is everything. There are mermaid conventions that happen all over the country. The two biggest ones in America are California MerCon, which just happened in July, and Mermagicon, which is still coming up the first weekend of August. It's going to be August 6th through the 8th. This one is particularly exciting to me because I was invited to be a lecture leader at the con talking about keeping in character, which is something that we've been talking about as well. I'm really excited for that speech because I think increasing accessibility in the mermaid industry is all about keeping in character and how to bring that level of realism. There is a big movement right now of people who are trying to become professional mermaids. So having that acting ability behind yourself in order to have the confidence to fill up an hour-long event is so important, and it is absolutely a tool that you need in your arsenal as a performer if you want to be successful in the industry. So filling your hour event with content of how to be in character is something that I'm going to be talking about during the convention. I will have full links to my lecture on my website after the event.
Awesome. And that's allofthealchemist.com.
Allofthealchemist.com.
What is your long-term ultimate goal? Where would you like to see yourself in 5 to 10 years?
I want to be an independent performer. And I want to swim for an aquarium professionally.
Anyone that's starting out or is somewhere along the path, what final message would you want to leave them with?
Keep swimming. Doing it is the best part of it. It is hard work at times, especially if you want it to be glamorous and effortless appearing. Every time you go, you are getting better. And you're building memories, and it is fun.
Olive, thank you so much. And thanks for coming on. This has been absolutely a blast.
I am so happy to have been able to spend this last amount of time with you. Ken, thank you so much for interviewing me. This was a lot of fun.
Oh, right back at you. Hope we see you again soon. If you want the full-length, uncensored interview, go to sweetwaterscuba.com.